Latrese Curtis was just 21 years old when her life was taken from her. She was described as humble, encouraging, and always had a smile on her face. At time of her death, she was an accounting student at the University of North Carolina Central. She was also married to a man named Darren, who, according to those closest to Latrese, had only been dating a few months. On January 30, 2008, around 7 a.m., a man called 911. He said that he saw something on the side of the road on I-540, and that he believed it was a body. The body was of a young woman, and she had been stabbed about 40 times in the chest, neck, and head. She was described as being almost pale, due to losing so much blood. The woman was identified as Latrese Curtis. Latrese's car, a white sedan, was found less than a mile away. There was blood all over the car. It was clear that the attack had happened in the vehicle. On the day that Latrese was found, her father, Sherman Jones, tried to get in contact with his daughter and her husband. He said he turned on the news around 9 a.m. and saw that a body had been found. He eventually found out from the police that it was Latrese, and that Darren had reported her missing the night before. A brief clip of Darren's 911 call was played. He said he had talked to Latrese the night before, and that she was on her way home from Durham to their home in Raleigh. Darren was brought in for questioning around 11 a.m. Sherman said that Darren seemed so nonchalant about Latrese being missing and believed he didn't go out looking for her. Darren didn't have an alibi, but he complied. He gave the police his fingerprints, a sample of his DNA, and let them photograph him. During the investigation, the police received a tip from a trooper. He said he had been out around 1:15 a.m. that morning and came across two vehicles. The first vehicle was Latrese's, and the second one belonged to a man named Robert Reeves. Robert lived in Durham and was a minister at Cedar International Fellowship. He was nicknamed the Bishop and wanted everyone to know it. He was brought in for questioning. During the interview, the police discovered the link between Robert and Latrese was a man named Stephen Randolph. Stephen was also a student at NCCU and was having an affair with Latrese. Robert also let the police take his fingerprints, DNA, and let them photograph him. He was asked about his vehicle and said that Stephen used his car from time to time because his was out of service. On February 1st, 2 days after Latrese's murder, Stephen was brought in for questioning. Stephen was a basketball player at NCCU and a ladies' man. He was asked about his relationship with Latrese. He said that he knew Latrese was married, but that she didn't give him too many details about it. Stephen said he had been with Latrese the night before she died. They did the deed and used protection. However, the protection got stuck, and Latrese left to go home. Stephen said after Latrese left, he went to his other girlfriend's house to meet some friends. Stephen gave the police one more piece of information. He had been receiving strange phone calls, and so had his other girlfriend. About a month before Latrese died, they also had their tires slashed, which is why he had to sometimes borrow Robert's car. Stephen gave the police his fingerprints, DNA, and was photographed. On February 2, 2008, Sherman received a call that an arrest had been made. Robert Reeves was charged with first-degree murder. He claimed his innocence, but his DNA had been found inside Latrese's car on the steering wheel and other items. On September 29, 2009, Robert's trial began. Stephen testified that Robert had invited him to move in with him. He believed Robert was being helpful, but he soon saw another side to him. Robert had asked him if he was interested in being involved in an escort service. Stephen said he thought about it, but told Robert no. Robert made several advances towards Stephen, but Stephen wasn't interested. The police discovered a second phone line that belonged to Robert. The phone number matched the phone calls that Stephen and his girlfriend. The location of the phone also matched the location where the tires had been slashed. The prosecution believed that Robert unalived Latrese because she was in the way of his relationship with Stephen. They said that Robert followed Latrese, who most likely pulled over after leaving Stephen's due to the protection. Robert approached her and attacked her. On October 9, 2009, Robert Reeves was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.